Hello, everyone. How's everybody doing today? Happy Friday. Welcome to another Blizzard panel at CTN-Live 2020. This panel is called a CTN Success Story, and our goal is to explore the journey of an artist from his first CTN convention to finding his dream job at Blizzard Entertainment. My name is Melvin Young, and I work in the story and franchise department at Blizzard Animation. My role there is the modeling department producer, and I will be your moderator for this afternoon's panel. I am joined by my coworkers, Blizzard Animation Recruiter Mark Anderson, Modeling Department Supervisor Shannon Thomas, and Man of the Hour Rakan Khamash. This panel will be casual and fluid, and rather than like a formal presentation. But I would also like to invite our audience to share your ArtStation, LinkedIn, and other social media platforms in the chat. With that said, we're experiencing a little bit of technical difficulties, but we're going to start with our Man of the Hour, Rakan, once he is able to connect. So please bear with us.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody, sorry for the delay. We are having some connection issues. This is kind of one of the conveniences or surprises you get when you do everything remotely.
So as we work through it, Shannon, you want to tell them a little bit about what you do at Blizzard, and we can kind of go through, do some introductions real quick.
Yeah, we'll start there.
So hi, everybody. I'm Shannon Thomas, the modeling supervisor for the story and franchise development team at Blizzard. Work on the cinematics. And I think this is my 7th CTN in a row. So I love CTN. So happy and honored to be here, even though it's remote. So happy that we get to have this conversation and share a lot of really good information today. Our goal is to keep this, like Melvin said, very casual, just a conversation and light, as we're going to just try to share as much information as we can in this hour about, how to break into the industry, how to get your first job, or make those connections that lead you to, the career that you want. I've been working with recruiting a lot here at Blizzard over the last 5.5 years, and it's always interesting to find, to hear everybody's story of like how they got into the industry. Everyone is unique, and they have their own interests and uniquenesses to them. What we wanted to focus on today was Rakan Khamash's journey, because it's directly related to CTN. Like he literally wouldn't have gotten all those connections and ended up where he did without that first meetup here at CTN. Yeah. I think it was about 3 years ago now.
Thank you for that, Shannon. It looks like Rakan was able to join us. So yeah. I would just again like to introduce everybody to the artist we'll be showcasing today, and that is Rakan Khamash. Rakan,
hey guys.
Give us a summary of your story and how you got to where you are now.
All right, sounds good. Hey guys, my name is Rakan Khamash. I'm a self-taught 3D artist. I'm originally from Jordan, moved to the US almost 3 years ago. And yeah, today I'm going to be sharing with you my story of how I achieved my dream job and joined Blizzard. And yeah, let's start with this picture. You see here, I posted on Facebook 2013 that, yeah, I applied to Blizzard, dream big, I actually posted before in 2009, but the post is so old, Facebook, like I can't find it anymore. So my friend Amir posted on his Facebook that he checked in CTN, and I had no idea what that event is. So I sent him, hey man, what's up? Like, what is this event you're going to? And he said he's going to CTN, he's going to exhibit there, and he got a booth and a free pass. So I accepted the invite and I went there, and that's him. The picture on the left is the first CTN that I went to, 2017. And one on the right was the second one, 2019. And I'll explain later what this picture is about. So, I walk in CTN. It's awesome. All the artists showing their work. It's just great. And then I see this nice big blue light. And yeah, that was the Blizzard booth. That was the first time I, ever see Blizzard right in front of me and not just through emails. Keep in mind, I sent 2013. So all this time, it's all just emails and online. So I walk into the booth, I see a lot of cool artists showing their stuff. And then I waited my turn. I got to talk to the recruiter and he's like, hey man, what's up? Like, what do you do? I said, I'm a 3D artist and I would like to show you my work and maybe I can get some feedback on it. So yeah, that's where I met Mark.
Hey, I'm Mark.
Hey, Mark.
So my background's actually in art and game development, but so they pulled me over because I look at a lot of portfolios coming from the art side of things. So at CTN, we really try and give back. This was actually my first CTN also when I met Rakan, and we did, I believe that over several days, we did literally hundreds of portfolio reviews, trying to give back, trying to make connections with people. So you saw the picture earlier of Rakan, he's holding a poster. Like we were literally like working shifts, running back to a hotel room, rolling up these posters, trying to talk to everybody that we could. The posters were a big hit. So we had huge lines that were wrapping around the booth and we're trying to get to everyone. So, we've got folks from the story and franchise development group, the cinematics team, Shannon and others, and as well as, some of the recruiters sitting in. So Rakan, when his time was up, he got me and, he came up. It's funny because in the convention center, you don't always have Wi-Fi. You're trying to do everything to be prepared. And we talk a lot about being prepared. So Rakan, I think, had actually run outside, like preloaded his portfolio, right?
Yeah. So I had like internet issues and it won't connect, of course, because Blizzard is there. Everything is just perfect and something has to go wrong. So that was it. I just went outside, downloaded the picture, got them ready, and then I went back in.
And so so he loads up. He's like, man, I'm such a huge fan of Blizzard and everything. We've got limited time with everybody. And one of the things that he showed was this Hearthstone card. And so we're always trying to kind of decide, what team or what role is best for someone at Blizzard. We want to know what you're most passionate about. And so he was clearly passionate about Blizzard, but I'm kind of going through our array of questions that we kind of try and dig in on these things. And I'm like, man, this Hearthstone card's really cool, but like did you do all the material work yourself? Yeah, I did all of that. And, he's doing a lot of rendering stuff. He's got depth of field working and all these other things. And I was like, well, the Hearthstone team is really all about this kind of hand painted thing. What do you like Overwatch? And he's like, oh man, like, his eyes just lit up, talking about Overwatch. So we kind of talked a little bit about the game and about some of the things that, we look for in a portfolio. We talked a lot about showing our process, showing how you think. I talked to him a little bit about the cinematics team and how they're able to work on different franchises and things like that. And we said, hey, we'll keep in touch. We gave him a couple kind of simple tips to maybe work on to keep building his portfolio. And then the next time I talked to him, we were having a mixer at Game Developers Conference in San Francisco, and we try and do these greetings, meet and greet things whenever we can, have people build a connection to the people doing the work at Blizzard. And so I sent him an invite and I said, hey, we're having this mixer at GDC. Do you want to go?
Okay. So
and
Rakan,
his answer, he was really timid about his answer though.
Yeah, I thought about it. Like I wasn't sure. No, I'm kidding. Like I was so excited when Mark said, like, hey, would you like to come to San Francisco and meet the team? I lost my mind. So what I did is, from the first time that I met them, I got a lot of cool feedback and I went back and I was like, all right, I need to do something with this feedback. It's not just, I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm just going to do more stuff. I tried to work on the notes that they gave me. And I was hoping to see them like some other time or online, send them what I did. So when I got invited to the mixer, I had more stuff to show because again, I wanted to show them that, I'm progressing and like, here's a couple of new fan arts that I did. And I would like to get more feedback. So this gun, actually, I think I made that gun while playing Overwatch while playing, I would die, I would alt tab, go work on it. And then when I'm back, I'll just alt tab, go back to the, I was like, Overwatch for me is like, I can't even explain it. The art, the technical, everything about it. It's just amazing. So I had to do something. So I prepared a couple fan arts. And when I went there, I was walking around, I was so shy, but Mark was nice enough to be like, hey man, you should probably talk to this guy. You should probably talk to this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the first time I met Shannon over there.
Okay.
Some of my new stuff.
Okay. So Shannon, what did you, so from your perspective as a, supervisor and someone, who's, doing the job, like, what did you see?
Yeah, so I met Rakan and a lot of other great students and artists at GDC and CTN. But what stood out for me was, first off, was just Rakan's personality. Obviously, he has a lot of enthusiasm and passion for the art, which is something that you can see, in every pixel of his work. He did a lot of fan art early on too, which is fine, which is great. Encourage students to emulate the style that excites them, like whatever it is that you're working on that you kind of lose track of time, or you're working until 3 a.m. and you look up and you realize, oh my gosh, like find that thing for you. And for Rakan, that was kind of making Overwatch fan art. So I saw this piece, I saw his Hearthstone card, and even the I think the Roadhog gun before that.
Yeah.
And it was obviously he had a lot of presentation skills and some good modeling. This piece was it was good. It was you could see a little bit of the progression from his other work, the earlier gun, but it still wasn't, fully polished to the level of something that we would do in cinematics. But there's a lot of really good elements that are working here. But overall, like I gave him, the same feedback that I would give any other artist, and kind of say like, hey, these are the notes that I would give, or this is what the art director would probably want to see. Some of the things here might be a little bit too plainer, a little bit too stiff. But also just kind of got to know him and talk about his interests, like Mark was saying, and what his thought processes as he's working, and how does he like to work. So, mixers or CTN, things like that, where you actually get that face time, it's really invaluable, because you're kind of, almost doing a quasi interview in a way, and getting to know that person. So Rakan definitely stood out with the passion. The work was pretty good, gave him the notes, and then I kind of just like said, hey, stay in touch. I'm on ArtStation or LinkedIn or whatever. Send me updates whenever you want. I can critique your work going forward. And, we're not necessarily, able to like offer you a job at this point. I don't think you're quite there yet, but take all these things and let's see what you can do with them.
Wow.
And then I kind of just, talked to him afterwards online, sporadically over the next couple of months. So that was our first interaction, but I could tell there was definitely something there. It was just up to him at that point to go further.
Okay, so Rakan, you come, you show up at this mixer. You're again, meeting more people from Blizzard, and you're getting feedback. And then, I mean, clearly you didn't stop after that. Like,
yeah,
walk us through
okay.
like what's going on here.
So what happened the second time I got to meet Blizzard and talk to Shannon and Mark again, and actually I met Dylan from the Overwatch team. Hey man. So yeah, I talked to him and he gave me more notes, and I took that all the comments and the notes he gave me and the feedback and Shannon's, and I went back home. Although, like he said, like they didn't have a job at that time, I wasn't like, oh man, then it's not gonna work out. I'm like, all right, I need to do even like more fan arts, but this time make it like more polished and maybe hit some of the technical notes that I got. So this Lucio gun was one of the best projects for me, because it was just, pure passion. I went back home. I did not sleep for a long time. And I was like, I need to finish it ASAP, because I don't want them to forget about me. Like I want to keep that connection with from the second meeting. So yeah, I went back home. I started working on this. And then I got the technical notes from Dylan. I was like, I need to show him and Shannon, because I did not know Blizzard is like more than one team. I thought it's just one big team that does everything. So I tried to, to do something for each team. So when I show it, it would be like, oh yeah, I mean, he's doing stuff like we do. And yeah, so I worked on this gun and tried to show all the details and stuff they might look at and be like, oh yeah, it's cool that he's doing it this way. So I tried to show some renders, some wireframes, and yeah, that's the note that I got from Dylan. He was like, hey man, yeah, we don't do the details, in the model, we like to use floaters. So at that time, I had no idea what floater was, like nothing. I went back home, did the research, and then I tried to add that element to my Lucio gun. And yeah, this whole slide is just for him. If he clicks on that on ArtStation, one day he will actually see it, and maybe like him. So yeah, I tried to, with Shannon's note, just put all that in there, and that's the Lucio gun. That's basically what it was,
Okay, and you mentioned again earlier that the way that we work at Blizzard, that we're not just one team work on everything. That there is a little bit of assignment, like we're kind of split. And so, can you just tell us differences between the images that are coming up now?
Okay, yeah. So again, this is I would say to impress Shannon, more like the cinematic side, like here, some nice clear, clean renders and some nice wireframes. And the other one was like some technical stuff with the floaters. And yeah, see like this whole slide, I get a lot of questions on ArtStation from students, and people will be like, hey man, like, so how do you know what you want to add in the final presentation? I always say the same thing, like, why are you doing this? Are you trying to show it to somebody or just, you know, something for fun? That's the first thing I would think about. And then, okay, so they're looking for this element. So I'll try to add it. And you know, I don't just like to put one image. I like to make it look nice and like a cool polished presentation, because I want to keep them interested while he's looking at it, you know, not just one image and be like, yeah, I'm done, that's it. So that's why I added all these images.
I like how you did bring up, oh, sorry. I like how you did bring up presentation, and you know, this again, you're acting all on passion, like there's no job available, but you're just like, I really enjoy this, I really enjoy, you know, this Overwatch, and you're just, you know, totally just like, you know, geeking out over it, which is something that we really treasure and we like in all of our employees. So after this, it seems like you're not just stopping with like guns, like, you know, can we talk a little bit about like this guy right here and like what's going on here?
Yeah, he's a character from Overwatch, my favorite one. Like he's my main, I'd say. So, you know, after I showed him the gun and I got feedback, and I said Shannon online and Mark, and, you know, I got some cool comments from them and maybe stuff more to improve. I was like, okay, I'm done with doing just one prop. I need to impress them enough with the full like character with all his props and the gun, the whole thing. And yeah, I always try to go online and stalk the Overwatch team characters, artists, just to see like, when they present their work, how do they present it? So this slide was actually like one of the way Renaud, the lead character artist in the team, that's how he would show his stuff, or like some of the stuff on his ArtStation. So I tried to copy that.
Okay.
And I worked on it, and yeah, okay. So if you look at this image at first, you just see Junkrat running with the sign behind him. But if you look on the right side, what does it say? Blizzard hired me. You know, yeah, that was a little something for fun, you know. And when I did it, I sent my friend, like, it'll be funny if it actually works out, and I can go back to this image and like tell them, hey guys, did you notice that Blizzard hired me in the background? So yeah, I just added that.
I didn't notice this until I didn't notice this until we actually decided to make this panel. So I thought that was a nice homage.
To what not a lot of people actually.
Blizzard hire me.
Yeah.
Okay, but again, going back to like presentation, because, you know, like, you know, Shannon, like, you know, and Mark, like you guys see thousands of applicants with, you know, a gazillion, you know, things to offer, you know, showing up their talent. But then I guess like with Rakan, there was something else that he kind of, a little extra that he would do with this stuff. I think that helped kind of make him stand out from everyone.
Yeah.
Here's the thing is that Rakan, like, you know, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say, what was cool was to see just the progression that once we gave Rakan the initial feedback at the CTN and then also at the mixer, you could see him taking that feedback to heart and putting it into his work and putting the hours into his work and listening to the feedback. And like he was saying, he was emulating what people were doing online. And that's something that I think is important, is, you know, not just copying what you know, the studio that you want to work at or that artwork, that style. Don't copy it exactly. Like, add your own flavor, add your own, you know, creativity to it. But also he did the technical parts where we said like, hey, you know, a lot of the modeling job is, you know, about half of it is technical, you know, half the day or half the time of an asset, you're doing the sculpting work, you're creating it. But the other half is you're really doing all this technical stuff, which is the topology, the wireframes, UVs, and things like that. And he showed that, especially in this piece here, was like, hey, look, basically it was like, hey guys, look, I can do this. Like, I'm showing you that I have this asking us to do. And that's something that I encourage other students as well, is like, read job descriptions online of what the job says, and make sure that you can do most of those things or all those things on the list, and say, you know, how can I better show my work and present that I am like hireable, that I can do this job. And Rakan kind of just made that easy for us, because he showed the wireframes, he showed the clay shaded renders, which is really important, especially on the cinematic side, where our modelers don't do any of the texture work. We just do the high poly modeling, just like a feature film pipeline. Yeah, so to see those clean gray shaded models like this Junkrat as well was extremely important for us to see his skill purely as a modeler. But then also you can see he exudes this this passion and creativity with these breakdowns, which was kind of the next thing that we noticed was just taking it to that next level and exceeding expectations and just showing so much in the work. And this shrink wrap piece was a good example of that too.
Nice. And, again, like the dab. And so I just want to point out again, this is this video is something that Rakan made on his own. Again, it's just him expressing his passion, how much he loves Blizzard, he's showcasing his favorite character, and he's just having fun. That's all he's doing. He's just having fun, and he's just throwing it out there for everyone to see, even throwing a little bit of dancing, shaking hips over there. But again, like Rakan, that seems to be kind of how you operate. Like you see something, you get inspired, and you kind of, you just kind of go berserk on it. And I think we have another piece here that you can briefly talk about with this.
So I was watching Spider-Man to the Spider-Verse, and the second that I left there, I had to do something. And I got super excited about it. And the way I express myself is that I do like fine arts or whatever you want to call it. I have to do something. So I like the glitch effect in the movie, and so I wanted to do something with it. At the same time, for some reason I like the shoes. So I modeled this, and then I was like, this is cool, but it's not enough. So I wanted try to do an animation with it. So that's where, this clip is, I don't know, is it gonna play? Yeah, there we go. So that's a short cinematic. Again, I want to impress Shannon, but this time with not using Overwatch elements. I still want to show him I can model whatever you want. So it's not just one style, one thing. So I did this render with it. You should definitely check it out on my ArtStation with music, because everything is synced to the beat.
I gotta say, we watch a lot of reels coming in, and usually the first thing we do is mute the video or scrub through to the stuff. We're dropping these little things for Rakan, we really need to see the topology, we really need to see how you work and how you think, and a little bit more on the process. And so everything he goes the extra yard. I mean, we talk a lot about telling your story and doing things in your own unique way. Usually we're telling people don't worry about flying logos. We don't need a Chrome version of your name that drops in and has a cool animation. But Rakan, he's having so much fun. It's just, it's impossible to not be inspired by, his level of passion for the things he's working on. And just every little detail he would take to the nth degree. And I have to say, for a making of video, a lot of times it's pretty dry, and I'm sure Shannon can speak to this. You want to just be able to cut to it, and I was I watched the whole damn video because it was.
Yeah, it's if someone could make a shoe model that exciting. It was, for me, it was okay, well, obviously there's something special there, but what could he do? What else is in there that's untapped that we could bring out of him collectively as the art directors at Blizzard and all the production designers. And if he was surrounded by that, for me, you could start to see wow, the sky's kind of going to be the limit for this guy, because he's putting in all the work and just making everything so creative that given the right platform, it's just going to explode even more.
So Shannon, Rakan's clearly just, regardless of whether there's a job or not available, he's gonna, keep doing what he loves to do. He's gonna keep showing stuff. And you guys are, have now this kind of ongoing exchange where he'll show some things and you'll give critiques. That's all fantastic. But what was the moment that Rakan actually got in? When did he get the gig?
Yeah. So it was, honestly, I think it was about 2 years after we first met. And that's one of the big things with students as well, is it takes a lot of patience. It takes a long time to get really good, which is one thing, but it also takes a lot of patience because you don't know when that job opening is going to happen. And we often don't either, because projects are so fluid when they start or when they end. And in this case, it was 2019. We were in the big crunch for BlizzCon. We were currently working on the Diablo 4 announcement piece, the Overwatch 2 announcement piece, and the Warcraft Shadowlands announcement piece at the same time. We were extremely busy. And there was a lot of kind of creative changes that were happening as the shows developed. And we hit a point where we realized we needed some extra help, and we needed it quickly. We needed someone to come in on a short-term basis, probably about 3 months, and hit the ground running and do basic Overwatch, not basic, but basically Overwatch props and some more junior level, mid-level work. And at that time in our schedule, I think it was around May, we didn't have the luxury of time to say okay, let's gather 300 reels and let's interview 20 people over the next 3 months and find the best candidate. We would have been done at BlizzCon at that point. So we kind of went through our Rolodex of who do we know, who's available, and with the exact type of work that we needed to accomplish for Overwatch. And going through that Rolodex, it was like a no-brainer. Like instantly, I just thought like, oh, what about that guy Rakan? Like his work showed possibility, and let's see if he's free. And I was kind of chatting him on ArtStation, you know, like I said, sporadically over the last 6 months or a year. And you know, we had this quick temporal open up and said, hey, are you free? And I think that's when Amy or Sam reached out to him and said, you know, this could be a reality.
Wow. Wow. So, okay, so we have a couple of slides here from some things that Rakan worked on with the cinematic that we all saw for Overwatch 2. And again, Rakan, like, you know, they finally got the call. Just, before we jump into these slides, just, quickly, how did that make you feel?
I mean, just to follow up on what Shannon said, when he said he checked with me if I was free, I made sure I'm free. This whole 2 years, I made sure I don't accept anything. I don't recommend that, guys. If like,
no, highly not recommend.
You don't want to do that.
Don't try to take opportunity when it
comes. I
was
like, listen, I'm just gotta wait until they say no. Like, if they don't say no, I'm still gonna keep waiting. I'm fine with that. So yeah, I got the call and then the follow-up email, and I would talk to Shannon, and yeah, that was and still is the best day of my life. Like when I got that call, and like, when can you start? I was like 2 weeks ago. So like, great, yeah, let's get you here. And yeah, that was the first. It was in May. Yeah, it was in May.
Yeah,
that was my first day.
Yeah, it was just one of those things where I tell this to other students is like, for Rakan, his passion was Overwatch in our style, and it doesn't have to be like that. Doesn't mean you have to do Blizzard work to get into Blizzard. It's more like, do what makes you excited and make what you're going to put all of your time and effort into, and get really good at that. And sooner or later, those openings are going to happen where someone's going to do a show or a project where they need to do a bunch of Nike shoes, and they're like, oh my God, there's this guy that does these amazing shoes. Like, someone will find you. Like, our industry is so small, ArtStation, ZBrush Central, there's a lot of good online sources where you can be seen and remembered too. Like, you'll see someone's artwork sometime years ago, and then you'll meet them and be like, oh my gosh, you're the person who did that. Like that always resonated with me, like that piece of art. So I think showing your work out there, like sooner or later, like I said, people will find you. In this case, it just happened to be, Blizzard needed help doing Blizzard stuff, and this guy who had shown an interest in that was available.
Timing was very important.
Yeah, timing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Mark, as you know, as someone on the recruiting end or whatever, like how does that work? Like, again, like Shannon was saying, Shannon Rakan was saying, like, he's been doing stuff for a while, and this opportunity just presents itself.
Yeah, that's the thing, is a lot of it, just like Shannon was speaking to, and Rakan as well, it is timing. We don't always have the job. We tell you to, follow the people that are doing the job that you want to do. We tell most people to sort of focus your time and your passion into, the game or the team that you want to be on, or the studio that you want to be on. But at the end of the day, even when you're doing all those things, we can't necessarily, make sure that the work is there.
Yeah.
And so a lot of what I do, I had to ask them when I came to Blizzard. They said, do you want to be a sourcer? And I'm like, what's a sourcer? And they're like, well, it's somebody that builds these relationships, and you're talking to people who aren't applying, and you're making sure that we stay in touch. So, a lot of this stuff, like even when Rakan came on, he's like, man, thanks so much for all the help. And I'm like, this is what they pay me to do, man. This is, it's kind of the payoff for, building these relationships. And so a lot of what we're doing, we've got things going in the chat now where Samantha has shared her information. I've shared mine. We want to build these relationships. We want to give you as much help as we can. And then so that you can be ready when the opportunity does present itself. With Rakan in particular, we were working with the Overwatch, with the game team, and as well as making sure that, hey, if the story and franchise group has an opportunity sooner and he's better suited there, and Rakan was making sure that his portfolio would work for both. It is a little bit of a special case, because I think most people sort of specialize in one or the other. But like Shannon said, like, the passion has to show. That shows the quality of the work is the biggest thing. I think the other thing is Rakan was really, he stayed in touch, right? Like I give people my home phone number, and I'm very lucky. Like, people text me, but I don't get texts at a weird hour of the night. He was very respectful of, everyone from Blizzard's time, but also, like, in our meetings, he was so memorable because he was so passionate about what he wanted to do. He took every single little tip and said, yep, I'm going to build that out. And so he took advantage of just every single opportunity that was presented.
Yeah. And I think, like, it was no different. Like, Rakan, it's special in a lot of ways, but it's also also very similar. It was up to him to do the work. Like we gave him all the avenues, like we do to anybody that applies or reaches out. But he did the work. He did the work and took it to heart and didn't have an ego to like say like, oh, I don't agree with these notes, or I don't. He was like a sponge. He just kept absorbing more and more. And I really think that's up to the to the individual really to put in the work and to do that. I kind of consider getting good at art is kind of like exercise in a lot of ways. Like you get out of it what you put into it. Very few people are born super naturally gifted at art or music. Some people are, but it's very rare. Most people just work really, really, really hard over a number of years and eventually get good, and then eventually get recognized, and eventually a job opens. And it just takes that culmination of that hard work, skill, personality, and a lot of just luck with timing, essentially.
And some of the timing thing, one thing that we talked about is like, I think for me coming into Blizzard, internally, we were so built on feedback, and it's something that's sometimes hard to share externally with people that aren't working in the company. It really did for people that have been through art school, like it's not the only way into Blizzard by any means, but there is this sort of culture of feedback that develops where, you listen, you're looking for constructive feedback to make your work better and to help make others work better. And I think that was the other big part of it, is all these little bits and pieces of feedback, because we don't, you don't have an opportunity. Like I'm guessing that the amount of feedback that Shannon and Rakan are able to share now is so much more than these, once every 6 months meetings, right? But we're trying to do as much as we can. So taking advantage of those. Shannon, I know you mentioned something, it's something that I've said before about feedback.
Yeah, I think I said feedback is a gift, and someone told me that in art school.
Wow.
And it's really like, it's someone taking their own time and if they really sit down with you, or either doing drawovers or, just saying like, oh, I don't like it, his head's too big or his ears are too big or whatever, that little bit of feedback is, someone from the outside looking at your art, and whether you take that feedback is up to you. But what I say to students as well is show your art to professionals. Show it to people that you trust their opinion, not to your friends and not to your family, because you want to get that raw first look feedback and look for patterns. Whether you show a whole portfolio and people say like, I don't know, like your proportions are off, or someone says like something about it feels off, like try to dig deeper and understand the note and then take it to heart and get better. Like just keep getting better and keep getting better. Sooner or later, those notes get smaller and smaller, and then your baseline for what you show is just, it turns out to just be really good. And I think that's, Rakan kind of started there, kind of hovering on that. And that's one of the things, is like, I wanted to make a point that like his personality and passion was great. But you still have to do the job. Like that's the thing, is you have to show up and do the work. Like it has to hold up on screen next to the, the other super talented artists that we have at Blizzard. So it isn't just like, oh, Rakan was super passionate. Like, no, his work's actually really good, and it's improving, and it's a combination of all of that, really.
Okay. Let's actually go through some of the work that Rakan has actually done, because at this point, he's officially crossed over into entering Blizzard as a full-time employee, and let's go over some of the pieces that he did during in the Overwatch cinematic. So Rakan, can you and Shannon, everybody, just talk about like Rakan, what did you work on here?
Yeah, sure thing. So in this shot, they gave me the dropship that we're looking at, and they're like, "We need you to slice that in half." I'm like, "Okay, that sounds fun." So yeah, I got to model like the interior around the sliced area and like some of the the melted metal that's glowing there. That was what like a cool task, because like who would thought that you would get such task? Like, oh, slice this object and make it work. So yeah, it was a cool one to work on.
I like that. Make it work.
Yeah, like just make it work.
Yeah,
this was like super exciting for me, because I got to model the shurikens, get these new shurikens, and yeah, this task I really liked it, especially when Shannon like walked up to me like, "Hey, yeah, we needed to model these." It was exciting.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that was the perfect. I think your first asset wasn't really modeling; it was like UVs or something technical.
I started doing
again, like. Yeah, and like, you didn't come in and be like, oh my gosh, like I gotta do UVs, like what? Like, no, like, the team is small. There was only like 6 or 8 people working on this cinematic and modeling, and everyone has a very crucial role, and collectively we're creating this product. And he came in and was just like, yep, whatever I can do. I mean, just tell me what you need. And it was great to have that the personality to just willingness to do that and just help out in any way possible. That was really, as a supervisor, that was really beneficial to have that, someone that can just be like, hey, so-and-so needs help with this. Rakan, can you please go and just check in and see what they can, have you collaborate on and get through together. And then I think the Shuriken was next, where you got to do that by yourself.
Yeah. And I gotta say, I got lucky because I love doing UVs. So yeah, it was a fun job to start with. And yeah, in this shot, I worked on the interior of the Omnic that Tracer jumps in, and like they had a rough sketch of like, yeah, we just need a a nice interior for it to show up, and it was a fun task because I got to add like some stuff on my own, not just just copying the reference.
Yeah, this was one. Yeah, where like the Shuriken was like a hero proper. Again, she's gonna hold it close to camera. Like that thing was like really well designed and drawn out for concepting. And this was kind of more loose as far as like composition. We needed certain depth. We needed this hose here to kind of frame her. It needed room for her to back up to do her blink effect. But other than that, it was kind of like, hey, Rakan, this has to fit inside this giant robot. Here's some meshes you can use, but make it work and let's see what you do. And it was kind of cool to just like unleash him to do this and just see what he could come up with.
Nice. And then we have, let's see. And what'd you do here, Rakan?
They're like, oh yeah, we need some random props to populate the rooftops. So I modeled like the antennas, the pipes, the chimneys, all like the small random details, and the pipes on the sides of the buildings too.
Okay. So you're in Blizzard, you're working, but I guess we should probably point out that, even though you have the job and the gig, you're still kind of still doing stuff on your own. You're still developing it as an artist outside of your job, right?
Yeah,
so
of course, man.
That's where this comes from.
Okay, so when I joined Blizzard and you look around you, like all you see is great artists, like just great people and artists. It's just amazing. That, you got to do something about that. So with all the knowledge that I learned in a couple of months and like meeting all the cool people and like seeing new techniques, like I had to put that in something. So I created this Game Boy for fun, and then it has to be Overwatch, of course.
Of course.
Yeah, it was like a more like a fun project. It wasn't like as stressful as I need a job at Blizzard. I need to do something. This was just pure fun. So yeah, I just had fun with it. I added the Overwatch skin to it, a couple more skins, and it was fun.
Wow. And again, you're just doing this just because you want to. Like, there's nothing prompting you.
I always tell artists that ask me like, so what are you working on now? I said like you can't stop. You're always gonna learn something. So whatever I learned at Blizzard in that time, I just I wanted to implement it. I mean, you don't see it here, but it's like in small details, like the model itself, how it's made, the technical, like the scale of stuff. So yeah, I always like to do more works, and I think I will always keep doing that. But now with work, you don't have as much time, but still, I'm always looking into like my next project. Or like if I see a cool music, I think about making a video to sync it on that. It's always like that.
For me, it was really fun to see like the long journey of like from 3 years ago or 2 years ago when we first met and see the literal progress. Like if you look at his art station, you can just see a level up constantly going forward. And it's like, he just keeps going higher. Like this thing, this blew a lot of people away. This ended up on like Autodesk's homepage, I think.
Yeah. And, this was a fun concept by Greg Melvin from Lost Bear Studios. And the second that I saw, it's like, it looks kind of Overwatchy in some way. So I want to do it. And then, just ended up giving my own render style. It was a fun project. And it's like, there's a cute little character just sitting on top there. And again, just trying to keep a nice presentation to it and adding the clear renders and all. Like I did not stop just because I got the job. Like I still want to do stuff and post it online and share with people.
He won't stop. It's what he does. He won't stop. He's the Terminator of modeling. The thing that's really funny about this stuff is you can really, I mean, like having spent some time with Rakan, like this has all the things, like the presentation is off the hook. He's really just knocking himself out with the hard surface modeling. Like that was the thing that we talked about early on. And, Shannon and Rakan working together, like watching those skills level up, but it's still fun. Like we talk at Blizzard about embracing your inner geek. I mean, how can you do that better than building a Game Boy that's Overwatch themed? And like all the other things are still in there. It's clearly Overwatch. It shows his love of the game and his love of Blizzard, but the attention and the storytelling in an object is all there. The attention to details there, and it's just really fun. Like the passion just kind of shows through everything.
He made it so easy in a way. Like this one's super super cool as well. I think the making of, you can see how you work, which is very, very helpful.
Presentation,
And I
there
don't
it
think
is
a lot of people
again.
show this. And what was cool is, Rakan, you said one thing you do, and I thought that was really smart, is as you're modeling, you kind of take breaks, obviously, to like rest your eye and your hand.
Yeah.
But while you are on break, you start your making of ahead of
Yeah.
time, like as you're modeling. So that's like your downtime.
I don't think that
Wait,
counts
what?
as resting your eyes, but maybe like not looking at the same object, if that counts. So with the Lucy God and this guy, like every time you work on something, you're obviously gonna get to a point where like, oh man, I'm tired, like I don't want to work it anymore. So for me, that break is actually making the making of video, because whatever stage I'm at right now, I will like grab that model, do some screen recording, try to make it cool and fun, because again, like I still want to show not just like a nice fun render, I want to make it fun, not just for me, like for whoever's like viewing it or like on ArtStation. So the making of videos is again just to show you my process, and at the same time I like to sync it to a beat, make it like some effects on it, and not just hey guys, yeah, this is me just showing you how I made this. No, like I try to keep it fun, and that's why I make the making of videos. For me, like I have more fun making the making of videos, if that makes sense, than the actual project at some points.
Wow, that's incredible. So we are about to enter the Q&A portion of our segment. But before we go into that, I just want to ask you guys, could you guys each just name maybe one do or do not for artists that are interested and basically, making pretty much being noticed and, trying to get into the industry?
Yeah, sure. I can start with one. I think sometimes earlier on, students that want to work in games or film or commercials or something in 3D or visual effects, they're so excited by it that they want to kind of do everything. Or maybe in school, they're being taught to do everything, where you're going to model, you're going to light, you're going to rig, you're going to animate. I think that's great because it allows you to figure out what you like and what parts of it that interest you the most, whether it's the rigging, texture painting. It also gives you an understanding of how each part works and how they can influence the next part down the pipeline. So it's good to have that broad stroke understanding, but try to narrow your focus to what you really want to do day in and day out. Like, what do you want your day to look like or your week to look like? What kind of problems do you want to be faced with? Are they modeling related? Are they surfacing related? Are they both? And then really work on getting good at that thing. Like I say, like, don't try to play the whole orchestra. Like, play the guitar like really, really well, or play flute or piano. But also have an understanding of like how music works and how music theory works, and maybe have a secondary skill. So if you model in texture, you can also do a little bit of scripting or a little bit of hair grooming, something to diversify you and make you more valuable as a team member. But don't think that you can get instantly good at like everything, because it just takes too much time. It's so, this stuff takes forever. We're building these assets, we spend weeks or months on them sometimes. To think that you can also do the lighting and the rendering and animation and everything perfectly, to that Blizzard quality or the Disney or ILM quality. I think just set your expectations of focus of really what excites you and what you want to do, so that you're not taking on too much too soon, and then you become being like an okay artist at everything, but you're not necessarily strong at any one thing. I think having a single focus is great, and then couple that with something else that's a complementary skill.
Okay, nice.
And
right, thank you.
I mean, I see a lot of people in chat just saying, like, I like to do everything. That's my problem. That's not a problem. That's actually a good thing to have, because it's cool to be doing everything. But I would say my advice to you is shift that like focus to whatever you want to do in the future. For me, like it was Overwatch, like it was Blizzard, and then it was specifically Overwatch. So that's why you see me doing all these fan arts. And don't be afraid to fail, because like I post a lot of stuff on ArtStation. So don't think that, oh yeah, I do that every day. No, it doesn't work that way. I have a lot of folders inside folders in the folder that just never seen the light. So it's totally fine to fail and just delete the whole thing and just start with something like fresh.
Yeah. Like all those iterations will make you better in some way. You're learning, something in that project. Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead, Mark.
Okay, so let's get some questions from our audience. So Jordan asked, "Hey Rakan, where did you get your degree in?"
All right, so I got mine back in Jordan. I studied computer graphics and animation at Princess Sumaya University. The thing is, it wasn't there yet. Like they just started fresh with the whole thing, and it was more focused to, I would say, technical stuff like rigging in mathematics. Fun fact, I failed calculus 6 times, so you guys should feel better about this. And I'm right here with Blizzard, so yeah.
Don't give up.
Yeah, don't give up. And most of the, I would say, the skills that I developed is, from like checking stuff online, working on my own stuff, failing a lot, deleting that, starting something new. Like each project, I always say you pick up something from, like, one small thing, even if you didn't finish it, and you don't have to render it, you don't have to post it online. Just keep doing stuff. You'll pick up a lot of like small details here and there that will help you in your next project. And yeah, that's how, I started with the whole thing back at uni, and I got my degree and just kept pushing from there.
Okay. We have another question from Nadine. I am a media and art student, and I want to be an animation director. At the moment, I do mostly 3D modeling and illustration. Is it too early to try to work now?
I'll take this one.
Okay.
No, the one thing that I was going to say, and Rakan alluded to this, and I think Shannon will echo it as well, the jump that you're going to see in your work from being a student to be a professional, if you have opportunities to do the work, whether those are opportunities or freelance or contract opportunities, like, don't neglect that time that you have to do those, that build those foundational skills. But if you have opportunities to do freelance work, to work in a group, to work in a setting that is more of a professional environment, that's really going to grow your work. So, while you're a student, if you're able to balance the workload and take on freelance and get freelance opportunities, or to participate in game jams or other things that are similar where you're able to work in a group environment, take those opportunities. It's kind of an echo of what we said about Rakan. It's taking advantage of every opportunity you have. I just want to balance that by saying those foundational skills are things, especially at Blizzard, we're looking at how, if you're a character modeler, we want to see how well you can have studied anatomy. We want to know that you have those foundational skills.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say similarly with like an internship or something like that, where you can get into a pipeline and understand the role of that job, and how you might work with rigging or previz or different departments. And also, like Mark said, it's going to level up your expectations of your own work and quality, where I think, Rakan showed that in his work. I did it the same way when I was starting out, is, you have your work that you think is good and it's here, and then you get feedback and it starts getting up and up and up. And then you get to a professional environment and it kind of like blows your mind of like what the bar really is. And then you're not happy until it's up here. So it quickly bridges that gap of what might take you on your own, like 2 years. Maybe a 6-month contract can kind of squish that time. And now your eye is trained and your skill is honed quicker, so that your expectations of your own work is so much higher than it would have been, otherwise without that experience.
I'm glad you brought that up, Shannon, about like internships. We have a question from Joanna. When looking for juniors and internships, are you guys looking for a more generalist or someone with a specific skill set?
It kind of varies. Like, we have different roles that have internships. So actually, Blizzard's great as a company because it offers internships to specific roles. So we have literally like a modeling intern, or a servicing intern, or a tech TD intern. So for us, it can be a little bit more specialized. But as Mark was saying, if you have a more generalist understanding at this point, that's totally fine. Maybe when you're looking for those roles as an intern, again, just pick out the one that you're most excited about, or maybe where you want to think that you want to work at some point, because you are going to come in. We have one of our former interns working now with us in cinematics in modeling. That was an intern, and kind of did that whole leveling up thing that I just talked about. He was more of a modeler, surfacer, a little bit of animation, a little bit of everything, because that's what you do in school as well. Like, you are pushed to try a little bit of everything. But he also was kind of ready at that point in his schooling. He was ready to take on like an experience in a pipeline and level up. Like, he kind of capped out, I think, of where he was in school and needed that extra push. And his work was at a level where it was kind of on that cusp, similar to like Rakan's, earlier work with the Sombre gun, things like that, where it's like, okay, like it's pretty good, but like, you're not going to come in and do, the next tracer model, but, we could probably benefit from you being here. We can learn some things together. And so I would say jump at those opportunities. And for Blizzard specifically, just find what you're most interested in and apply for that internship, which we're looking for them actually right now. We have intern roles, I think, open until the end of November for next spring and next summer. And they're paid. It's a paid gig. Like you're on the floor, literally working with the same team, working on, like our former intern Chris. He worked on the Diablo cinematic, just as his first assignment.
That's exciting.
Yeah, and like Rakan said, to remember, like Shannon was saying, like you're usually your schooling is an opportunity to try these different things on and see what the right role for you is. If you can get in at an internship and get connected to that production pipeline, you're going to see a lot of how those roles really work, how they interact with each other. And you got to be honest with yourself. Is this the role for me? Am I enjoying it in this capacity? Sometimes if you like doing everything, you may have to ask yourself, what am I best at? Maybe you start there. It doesn't mean that you can't do those other things, but you also have to be honest with yourself about, where am I going to go find a gig, right? Like the number of animators that I encourage to like explore visual effects, because timing is such a huge part of visual effects. If you're an animator, if you like the technical side of it, we're constantly looking for effects artists, but there's tons of animators that we have to see. So know what the competition is, use those internships and that exposure to sort of know how the different roles lay out to go after one.
Nice, nice. We have another question from Julie, who says, what do you look for in an environment modeler? I'm an animation student and I feel like I'm being pulled in multiple directions.
I can talk about that one because as the model soup, we kind of break the teams into specialties. Like we have our character modelers, we have environment modelers, and we kind of have like a hybrid. There's about 10 or 12 of us right now. For environment modeling, it can be anything from understanding basic modeling and sculpting and that aspect of the job. But environment modeling is a lot about composition, about lighting, about even like look dev. When you say you're being pulled in multiple directions, I'm thinking that as an environment modeler, maybe more so than a character, you might be pushed into doing texturing, doing things where you're building trees and entire like sets, environments with forests and grass and things like that. So it's generally someone as an environment modeler that can look at maybe a concept painting from Warcraft or something and get the scale of that set right. Make sure all the elements are cohesive, all the assets that you may be responsible for, they feel like they fit in the same world, where all the things that are stone can hold up next to all the other pieces that are stone. And a good test is kind of like, even though you can texture and light, take all of that away and just look at a gray shaded image of a grayscale scene from a behind the scenes of a movie or something like that. What a good environment modeler will be able to do, I think, is make sure that I, as the viewer, know what that object is, whether it's a piece of wood, if it's stone, if it's metal, if it's bark. I should be able to tell what that feels like when I look at it based on the quality of your sculpt and the quality of the model, so that you're kind of making it a cohesive, telling a story with that environment, and it all feels like it belongs together.
Okay, thanks for that, Shannon. Here's an interesting question. What are your thoughts in accepting contract roles?
Mark, do you want to get that one, or I can take?
I can talk. I can talk a little bit about it. So, I think increasingly, so I'm typically working more with the game teams. I'm really fortunate to be able to work with Rakan and Shannon and Melvin and everyone else in the story and franchise, and just constantly blown away by their work. And they always treat me like family anytime I show up at these events. They tend to utilize contract roles a lot more. They're a lot more common, I think, in feature animation. We're seeing them a lot more on the game side of things as well, as sort of an exploration of, we don't know if this work is going to be ongoing. So a fixed contract gig, a lot of times is a great way to show what you're able to do in that production environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Bob. I mean, you're producing modeling. We use a lot of contract work lately. You can speak to that.
Absolutely. I will say, there's nothing wrong with accepting a contract role, and like as a producer who's looking for talent, like just seeing that, even if it's a short-term contract, just having that experience, I think at the end of the day, as an artist for you, is still invaluable. So if it fits, take it.
Yeah, so we've had a couple contract hires that helped us get through that BlizzCon push last year, and even into the new Warcraft 9 cinematic that just came out. We had a lot of contract help. Some of them are still here. Some of them have moved on to other projects in the industry. But one thing we do is we still have that relationship. So, if the next time we need a contractor, they're definitely going to be probably the folks, if they've done a good job and they prove their value and fit into the team. We're going to look to hire them back, and we have a couple of them have come back once or twice because of that initial three-month contract. It's like, wow, they were great. Unfortunately, because the work dried up, we just can't continue that contract. But the next time we do, they're coming back, or they've used that experience to piggyback and find their next job, and they've leveled up, and now they're kind of working around the industry. And it's a really small industry, so those relationships are easy to keep. And then events like CTN is normally great, where you go in and you get to see everybody again and kind of catch up and talk about what you've been up to since your last gig. So contract work can be a great way to just network, learn a lot of different jobs, and also find different companies, find out what you like. Maybe certain companies run ways that you like better than others, and it's all great as far as especially a younger artist trying to figure out their own what's going to be their longer term plan.
Okay. I'm gonna. We have a question from Armando, specifically for Rakan. Outside of passion and purpose, can you talk about your education a bit, which you kind of did already, and also how you were able to create such awesome work and present it so well on your own prior to getting hired at Blizzard?
All right, cool. So yeah, like I said before, the college, like all the programs that they had, it wasn't like strictly or like 100% on like 3D modeling or anything. It was like more like general stuff. But creating the artworks, I have this, like, I would say, rule. Find an artist that you think his work is cool, keep working until you reach his level, and then find another one, and then just keep going up. So I would look online, I get inspired by something, like, oh crap, this is awesome, I need to do something myself. So I would create a piece inspired by that piece, or like a movie, like I did with the Spider-Man. So I find stuff to inspire me, and I try to make my own I would say renders based on that, and then just keep looking for like more. I have so many artists that I followed through the years. Reno was actually one of them that I always look at his stuff. I'm like, oh my God, man, this is crazy. Like I need to get to that level. One day I will. So yeah, just keep looking for artists that you think their work is awesome. Keep working until you reach that level, and then keep going up from there.
Okay. We have a few more questions I want to get through before the panel ends. Do you have any suggestions for introverts for going to events like CTN and getting your start in the industry?
Okay. Without CTN, I wouldn't be here. So let me start with that. And honestly, like for you to have that opportunity to meet the company that you like to work face to face, that's just valuable time that you need to be there. And one thing that I did when I was back in New Jersey, every event that Blizzard had, or they might be there, I would go there, even if it was like for 2 minutes. And if you think about the time I had at like the San Francisco Mixer and the CTN, it wasn't like more than, I would say, 30 minutes. But that time is so valuable with the feedback that you get from them. It helps you so much. It's like 10 years compressed in 30 minutes. Just take that feedback, work on it, and make that connection. It's all about making the connection. That's why you want to show up. And I do understand, like, people might not be comfortable, being surrounded by all the people waiting in line all that time. It's totally fine. But like, your passion should just put all that on the side and just push for it, because that's what you want, right? You don't want to miss an opportunity because like, you're not comfortable, or that's what, like, you want to like progress and move forward. So just show up to events. Don't be shy. I was shy. Like, ask Mark. I was like hovering around the booth for like 20 minutes.
He was nervous. I don't know that I would classify Rakan as an introvert. I will say this, that we get a lot of people. It's really tough. We've all been there. I mean, I think a lot of us, we spent a lot of time doing art. We weren't, doing things that were necessarily like super social. I feel like,
Oh, yes.
I'm probably more of an extrovert now, but the thing is that we've all been there. We've all had that thing. It's incredibly hard to take your work and just say, here, this is me, this is what I did. But like Rakan said, taking those opportunities, everyone that I've met at Blizzard, and honestly, in this industry, I had the same notion. It was at a different convention, and I got the opportunity, and they absolutely just, they didn't say anything positive, but it was all fantastic feedback. So being able to take advantage of that and take it to heart. I got back to the hotel room, and my wife's like, how did it go? And I'm like, it was awesome. She's like, they want to hire you? And I'm like, no, they hated everything. But I know exactly what to do now. And I think that's the way you have to look at it. Take a deep breath. I mean, the number of people, I've gone outside the convention center with people that I can tell are nervous, right? It's okay to tell people you're nervous too, right? So just be honest, be
Yeah,
your
and
true
reach out,
self.
be honest. Like we're all, Blizzard's a lot of introverts. I mean, we make games and art, like usually those are more introverted folks. And that's fine, that's great. The art speaks for itself, and usually you can find that common thread to geek out about a game or a TV show or a art style, or like that can be your bridge to maybe feeling a little bit more comfortable. Or just hit up me or Mark or any of us online, like I said, on LinkedIn or ArtStation. Everyone's out there. We're just all fans, essentially. We're all fans of art, and we're all looking to work with great people, and they come from all walks of life, self-taught. Some of them go to the best schools, some of them are from all over the world, and none of that matters. It's really just who's passionate, who can create amazing art, and let's get together and do that. Like it's all one big family. Like Blizzard is a ton of introverts, and that's great. It doesn't matter. It's really the art and the team, and everybody brings their own special something.
Yeah.
I think you hit the one thing that's pretty amazing about it is one that the industry is small enough that it's sort of like 1 degree of Kevin Bacon. Like you either know somebody that knows the person, or you know somebody that knows somebody that knows the person. The second part is what Shannon was saying about it's about the art. I mean, as part of my job, I'm talking to people all over the world. I was talking to a gentleman in Poland yesterday via Zoom. Like it's one big world now, and we can connect via a single button. And I'm talking to him about like crazy, like mid-century, like pulp illustrators from sci-fi and fantasy novels that we both loved, growing up, on completely opposite sides of the world, and finding those things. He's like, I was really nervous. And then we started talking about John Berkey, and we started telling each other stories, and it's just stories. That's all it is it's just another human being, and you're sharing a story. And it's a pretty small market for people that love art and, love games and love to tell these stories. So you're going to have a lot in common.
Nice. Okay, so I'm going to try to get a couple more questions in. As a junior artist, do you do you prefer fantasy, hyper real, or stylized or photo real work for your reel?
Answer is yes. Like just work on everything that you get passionate about, and just show that you're passionate about it and your level of skills. It doesn't matter what you're working on. But I would say again, if you wanna, like, you have a goal, for me, like it was Blizzard, and like specifically Overwatch. That's what I love. That's what I want to be doing for the rest of my life. So I just shifted all my focus to that, and that's my advice.
Okay.
Yeah, we usually tell people to match your work to the studio or the team that you want to work on. Sorry, go ahead, Shannon.
Yeah, no, exactly that. And like, if you really want to work at Disney, then don't focus on like super creepy, bloody demons in your portfolio. That's just not what they do. That's not their product. So it's kind of like finding, whether it's through an internship or those temp gigs, kind of finding, or people that where do you want to end up working, or what is your day, what is your routine, what does that look like, and what kind of projects are you contributing to? Are they on television? Are they kids stories? Are they scary movies? Are they robots? And then try to cater your work and cater those connections to leading to that, because it takes a long time to do all this stuff. In Blizzard in particular, like in cinematics, you kind of have to be able to do both, because we create both. We create Overwatch and Hearthstone and Diablo and WoW, and so it is a little bit of realistic and a little bit cartoony, which is great as an artist because you get to flex and pivot and not kind of just do the same thing. But it also is hard to find people that can do both, because again, all of this takes so much time to get good at. But ultimately, it's really, what do you want to do? Like if you want to work at DreamWorks, again, or Disney, or these more cartoony projects, that should be what your portfolio reflects, to show that you can do those jobs.
So do Overwatch guns, but with Disney style. That's gonna work out for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. Okay. So another question from someone named Shannon. Look at that, names match. Do you prefer reviews at any point, or can we send you a link to portfolios for feedback, for example, through LinkedIn?
I look at those all the time. I think, we try in recruiting, we look at a lot of work, and we kind of try and look at the largest volume of portfolios. I know that, Shannon and Rakan and everybody on our teams, they are actively looking at other things. I think the biggest thing that I can say is, be cognizant of their time, because it's one big connected world. That's awesome. But, be cognizant of the people's time. I'm more than happy to. The rest of our recruiting staff, if you want to connect with them on LinkedIn, I encourage people, and a lot of the other recruiters do, to, like, when you have new work, show us a new piece, and if we can, get feedback, that's a great opportunity. We do usually do portfolio reviews connected with events like this, as well as, our own BlizzCon is usually a big opportunity. Everybody's figuring out how we do portfolio reviews in a pandemic world, but other than that, we try to as much as possible.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
I would say too, like, you don't have to reach out to, just the recruiter or just, me or even Rakan. Like, there's a lot of people you can find on LinkedIn or ArtStation that, even if you just like their work, most people I found in this industry are very nice, which is a big perk to this industry. And if you just reach out to them and say, hey, fan of your work, like what you did on that movie or whatever, I'm trying to get into this thing and I did this. Can you give me 5 minutes of your time, or can you give me one note on this when I send it to you? Not saying like, hey, can I have an hour of your time? Because everyone's busy with life and COVID and all that. But just most people are willing to help. I mean, everyone started somewhere. No one was born knowing how to use ZBrush or, being able to draw or paint. Everyone learns along the way. So I think just reaching out, the industry is amazing. So find those people on ArtStation, find a mentor if you can, someone that can help you, keep leveling up and on focus. So there's a lot of people out there that are, I think, just willing to help in some capacity.
Yeah, don't be shy.
All right. Well, I think that pretty much concludes our. Oh wait, there's one more question. Okay. This is gonna be the last one, guys, and after that we're going to wrap it up. So, do you think that making tutorials, or this comes from Laura, by the way. Thank you, Laura. Do you think that making tutorials or teaching others what you love will help you reach your goals?
Yeah. I mean, is that a question for me? Sorry. Yeah. I mean, I guess because if you think about it, when you make the tutorials, it forces you to actually make work, and by that you're actually like working on stuff and you're improving all the time. So when I used to do all the making of videos, it actually helped me learn a lot of, I would say, After Effects and like editing skills and stuff that I wouldn't usually learn on my own, like from 3D modeling and stuff. So yeah, it definitely helps. Okay. And again, I get to show you like my process, and this helps with whoever likes looking at your work to understand like how you do stuff.
Yeah. Sorry, I saw the other question pop up, and I wanted to say my last comment, but I forgot to. So this says, where can you find a good mentor?
Go for it.
Actually, yeah, Rise Up Animation is here. It's a great group that was formed by some of the Disney folks that I participate in as well. But it's just the industry professionals. It's a free mentorship program that you can sign up for, and then they will essentially assign you a professional that's looking to help. And there's hundreds of portfolio reviews every month. Done online, done through Zoom. So definitely check out Rise Up. They're awesome.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in to our panel, A CTN Success Story. I am Melvin Young. I've been the moderator, and I've been joined by Shannon Thomas, Mark Anderson, Rakan Khamash, and we really appreciate you guys taking your time. And if anything, just remember to keep working hard, don't give up, and stay inspired. You guys can stick around here for the next panel that's coming up, Unwrapping Alien Xmas, a look behind the scenes with Stephen and Edward Chiodo. Thank you guys, and happy Friday. Stay safe.
See you guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks, CTN.